You all set?
Yep.
Okay, I would like to call the town board meeting of March 4th, 2025 to order. Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence to remember those who served our country in the past and for those who continue to protect our country today. Thank you. Please note the emergency exits are the door you came in, the doors at the end of the hall, and the door behind us. Okay, at this time, I'd like to invite Dan Kohler, the town engineer, to come up to discuss the project that's on the agenda. Are the
representatives for the applicant are here as well.
Okay, would you like
So I think it would make
them to do it
sense if
first?
they
Yep,
start
I
out
wasn't
with
sure
just
if they
a
were
brief
here. Okay.
introduction of
You
what
wanna
they're asking
invite them
for,
up?
and I can follow
Okay,
up.
sure. So the applicants are here, and the town engineer and town attorney are here to have a little presentation on resolution number 18. Thank you for coming.
Where are you guys from?
Poughkeepsie.
I'm sorry, the name of your...
LRC Group.
What is it?
LRC Group.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Amy Patain, and I'm the project planner for LRC Group. We're representing the applicant, LMDH Property Holdings. So they're looking to do a subdivision on the corner of Beekman Road and Greenhaven Road. We're here tonight because we are requesting to do our tree removal for this project prior to receiving final plat approval, just due to the fact that the deadline for tree removal for the DEC is coming up at the end of March. So we are very close to obtaining our final approval. We still need to go to the Department of Health and the DPW. We have very minimal comments left to satisfy, and we believe to be able to satisfy those comments in the next month or so. That does not leave us enough time to come back to the planning board and obtain final approval before that March 31st deadline.
Did you want to explain a little bit about the project for the town board?
Sure. It's a 5-lot subdivision. So 5-lot subdivision for single-family homes. As you can see, 3 of the homes will have driveways off of Beekman Road. 2 of them will have driveways off of Greenhaven Road. I don't know if you want to talk about stormwater briefly. It's a very minimal, small subdivision project.
Can you just show roughly which areas would be affected in terms of taking the trees?
Sure. So the red on the plans are the trees that are above 8-inch DBH that are going to be marked to be removed. So in those areas, that's limited to a certain number of feet from the primary structures and the septic and proposed well, as well as the driveways.
Okay. Did you have anything else that you'd like to share?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay, then I'm going to invite Dan Kohler to come up and join us.
Good evening. So the project received preliminary plat approval from the planning board last year. So Amy and Brittany are correct. Their process is moving along quite well. They've got a couple of outside agencies that they need to finalize their approvals with, and then they'd be able to do anything normal in terms of construction anyway. So as the years have gone on in this, it's actually been a long review on a relatively small project. CAC had commented back July of 2023. And what they had referenced at that time was Local Law 2 of 2020, which was now our 155-51. What that does is it talks about tree removals and harvesting, and it also exempts certain activities. In cases of plans where subdivisions or site plans are approved by the planning board, as long as they meet certain criteria, they are exempt from the timber harvesting permit, let's say. And what that code actually allows for is a 60-foot buffer around houses and a 10-foot from any other improvement where the trees can be removed as part of that law. That would be exempt activities. What they've actually done is, in working with the planning board, because the planning board took the CAC's comments into consideration, they worked with the planning board to limit the amount of trees within that area. So they technically, according to that section of the code, could clear more, but they've been very sensitive to it, and it's been part of the planning board's reasonable and appropriate review process. And during the seeker that the planning board did, they took a very hard look at this. They put the applicant, I wouldn't say through the ringer, but they did a good job of making sure that they were doing the right thing and limiting the amount of extra trees that could actually be saved as part of the project. So that's where it is at this point. So in terms of process, our code technically allows, after preliminary approval, for certain activities to begin on subdivision processes. So this isn't out of the ordinary. It's quite common anymore where trees are removed during this period right before the building season, because the Indiana bat and northern long-eared bat will be coming out of their hibernacula. So it's going to be foraging, mating season soon, so they'll be coming out. They typically come out around April 1st or so. So the tree clearing restriction set by the DEC is typically April 1st through October 31st. So can't really knock down trees as part of projects during that period. So that's why they're looking to do this. And so what we've done is we've asked them to provide some certain protections in order to, give some guarantees to the town that if, for whatever reason, there was some default or some change in the project or whatnot, that we have money to restore the site to some extent. So what I asked for is a performance bond guarantee, and I asked for an actual monetary performance bond so that the town can pay for any kind of repairs that we may have to do out there. That would include ripping up the stabilized construction entrance. It would include restoring the main haul road that runs through the middle of the site now to move the trees. It would actually, there was a tree restoration plan where we would actually be able to plant some extra trees to block some of the views from Greenhaven Road and from Beekman Road as part of this if they were to walk away. So that's all this is. It's a protection. It's a guarantee. It's got some protections for the applicant. It's got some protections for the town. And I think it's a good plan. It's appropriate for what people are having to do these days because of the Indiana bat and the northern long-eared bat tree restriction time. So. Okay.
Craig, do you have anything you want to add?
Yes, to add to Dan's comments, the planning board made this determination after a hard look at, was taken. Sorry, my voice is gone. The planning board made the determination after the required hard look was considered, and the disturbance was the least intrusive and limited to the building envelope of the of each lot.
Okay. And I think what I'm going to do now is we'll go a little bit out of order. We have a number of people who would like to speak on the agenda items, so I think we'll take that first, right after the presentation. Did you have something else?
I was going to ask you to leave the...
Yeah, could you leave that for a few minutes till we do that? Okay, and we'll go through the list for anyone who had comments, and that'll be helpful. Thank you.
No problem, thank you.
Okay, Murray Johnson?
Supervisor, you have to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Okay. I make a motion to suspend the normal rules of operation.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Go ahead, Murray.
Thank you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Murray Johnson. I live at 54 Roosevelt Drive in Dalton Farm, and I am 5 foot 4 inches. One of the things that I wanted to ask today, and I'm not sure if it'll go to the engineer, or the developers, or the town board, I think you said that what's left to be approved is the Department of Health, and what was the other?
DPW.
DPW, okay. So this seems to have been a project that's been around for a couple of years, right, Dan? And so if the plat was approved last year, and here we are March 4th, and the trees have to come down by March 31st, what's been done for the last 2 years? Usually when somebody's planning something, you know, you work towards the end date. So I'd like to ask why it took so long to ask for 4 weeks before taking down the trees.
Do you have any? Yeah, that would be great.
Because it is a, you know, going around the process is kind of what is bothering a lot of us, that, yeah, it's not following the rules. I know you can do the pre-approval, but, yeah.
Yeah, they've gone through a diligent review period by the planning board, so that's what's been happening. So they've been doing their work diligently. They've been copying us with correspondence to the health department and to the Department of Public Works. So they've just been going about their process, and it's just, you know, it's a timing thing. This just happens to be where they fell in their timing, and they didn't quite have the conditional final approval just yet. So this is a reasonable and, as I mentioned before, common thing that most municipalities allow in this area.
Was there anything major concern that slowed her down, or was just the process?
No, it's just a process. I think the planning board was doing it, like Craig said, it's taking a hard look, making sure that they were refining everything about it. I mean, they were very diligent about asking about the trees, how they could, and then the applicant kept coming back, and the planning board would kind of work with them to try to say, can we save those trees over there? Can we do this? And then they actually came up with a restoration plan that's in it. It's a part of the approved subdivision will be additional trees that they're going to plant as well as part of the subdivision. So
After the build's complete.
yes, yeah, that's regardless of this,
Okay.
independent of this.
Thanks, Dan.
So again, it looks like it could have been, they were so diligent, why weren't they planning for a 3/31 date to avoid going around the bend there? The last thing I have, because I think I'm coming up on 3 minutes, is when is the public hearing? And is that going to be before 3/31 so that the community can understand what's being done? Anybody?
Yeah, it's on the, hold on the resolution, just give me a second.
No, that's for...
It's already been done.
Oh, they had
Yeah, they had it,
We're
yeah.
having a public hearing for something else.
Yeah.
They had it at the planning board stage.
But was the public invited? Was it on the agenda for the town board meeting? Because isn't that usually when you do those public
No,
hearings?
we weren't the board that would have the public hearing for this, it was the planning board.
So it never came before the town board for people to see on the videotape?
No, but it is on the videotape for the planning board.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Barbara Walsh?
Hi, I'm Barbara Walsh. I live at 5702 Chelsea Cove North. So these are my questions. Are you asking to begin construction before the final approval, or just destruction of or just taking down of the trees?
Just felling the trees.
Okay, all right. So there'll be no construction of the houses. Okay. How have you resolved, because, you know, a group of us have been working on this for quite a while, and things have been explained to me, and especially the fact that there are two locations in Beekman where other projects were planned, but because the final approval wasn't given, they didn't go forth. And we've noticed, as have other residents, that there's flooding and pooling of water and no trees there to prevent any of that, and it provides road risks. Now, do you have something in place to take care of that if you don't get the final approval?
That's the bond. So the town will come in and put it back.
Okay.
That's what the whole point of the bond is.
Okay, so I will let another person ask about how that money will be spent. Okay, and has the DEC and town engineer approved of the tree removal being finished by 3/31? Has the Department of Environmental Conservation and the town engineer approved of that?
DEC has no authority on it.
They just have a recommendation.
I have.
Okay. The town engineer? Okay, thank you.
Supervisor, I just want to remind the board that the board's not empowered to review any decisions of the planning board.
We can't hear you back there.
This board is not empowered to review any decisions of the planning board. So before your consideration is just the acceptance of the performance bond, which is a cash bond. It's an insurance policy.
And part of that, there is a whole explanation of how many trees, you know, what the $38,970.38 will go into. So it'll go into white pines, firs, seeding, removal of the fell trees, light grading, removal of orange construction fence, removal and restoration of construction entrance and temporary culvert, and Hall Road decompaction. So they've come up with the amount that all of that work would entail, and that's what the bond is. So if for some reason they didn't follow through on it, then the town would have money set aside to be able to go back in and restore, so to speak, this property. Let's see, next, Brian Walsh.
Hi, I'm Brian Walsh. I live at 5702 Chelsea Cove North. I just got a couple of questions. Some of these trees that are going to be felled are going to be decent-sized trees. How would the restitution money replace old trees, you know, if this project isn't built? Are you going to put in big trees, or are you going to put in saplings? I know a lot of times they put in saplings.
No, they're on this list 5 to 6 feet height for the pines and the firs.
5 to 6 feet, okay. That doesn't really replace like a, you know...
I don't think any of them, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, are are any of them old, you know, most of them old growth, or?
There's some mid-age trees in there, but it's never the possibility to replace the trees that are going to be felled.
Okay.
I mean, first of all, trying to replace any of that kind of tree is obviously super expensive, but they also don't have a good chance of living when you try to replace a large tree with a large tree.
Mm-hmm.
So you normally start them out with a normal size 5 to 6 foot. If you're talking evergreens, or if you're talking about deciduous trees, you're normally in the 2 to 4 inch caliber for those trees.
2 to 4 inch round?
Caliber, yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, not, okay.
Okay, so in fact, you know, larger trees would not be replaced. Is that what you're saying? Okay. Do you always ask for work to begin before final approval? Do you always ask for work to begin before final approval?
This is just for the tree felling, so it's not any construction.
Okay. Right, I know it's for the trees, but I mean, is that like a common practice? To ask before approval, you start doing the work. I mean, falling the trees is doing the work. That's the first phase, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's not common, sometimes it can be, depending on the time frame of when everything falls into place. Even with what the code says, you are allowed to do it, but it all depends on when all the approvals fall into place as well.
Okay, and so are you asking for an approval by the town board for a $12.5 million restitution bond? Is that the?
No, it's,
No.
hold on, it's
38.
38, I just said it, it's 38, $38,970, $907.38.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's see. Deborah Wright?
Hello, my name is Debbie Wright. I live at 208 Beach Road. And I just have, a couple of questions. And the first one, and it just confuses me. My first question is in regard to the bond. Because when I read the information, you have a $12.5 million bond. What is this $12.5 million bond all about if there's a $38,000 bond for the trees and that? What is the 12.5? And why are you?
No such thing.
No.
Well, why was it written down?
It's on the plans. It's on the plans. X number of trees at so much dollars per tree, yeah, it's in there.
So you don't
So
know.
you're saying the plans aren't correct?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
No, it's not right.
What-
I think you're mistaken.
What was, so are you familiar with the Craig, what was on the plan?
No, right.
So nobody-
There's no, this is for the limited purpose of performance bond.
This
It's an
bond.
insurance policy to make sure that they do the work they said they're gonna do.
For this
For
portion-
restoration.
For this portion of the
Yeah.
project, not for the whole project.
So the 12.5 can be for the whole project? No.
There's no 12.5.
There's not. Okay, so this was,
I'll show you a picture after the meeting.
so this is in fact. Okay, well, my other two questions are just general questions. Because I'm concerned because I know that there's a huge parcel that's up for sale on Baker Road for, 1.7 acres? And then there's another one for Pleasant Ridge for 55. And, I think a lot of people moved up here because it's just a really beautiful place to live. And my question is how does the Conservation Board liaison with the Planning Board, to ensure that the environment is protected when it comes to these large areas where developers, want to use this land?
Dan, do you want to talk a little bit about, Cliff has been coming for years and the new chair will come, but how do you guys liaison in terms of
I mean,
development?
how do you,
So the subdivision code requires that the Conservation Advisory Council has an opportunity to speak about it. So typically early in the process, normally when we're doing about the lead agency circulation process, we'll forward it over to the Conservation Advisory Council and then they'll send us any comments that they might have. That's part of the process. And then Cliff, obviously he just retired. Thank him for his service, but he used to sit
attended
over at the
every-
planning board
yeah.
meetings as well. So right now, I believe the chair of the planning board is also on the CAC as well. So there's some interaction in between the two boards in that way as well.
Okay.
and is there a lot of interactions? Do they have a lot of questions regarding these?
Yeah, they do
that
a
you
pretty.
act upon and-
Absolutely, the planning board takes their recommendations seriously, which they did on this one as well.
Yeah. the CAC issues advisory or advice to the planning board that's non-binding on the planning board.
So then, okay, for these like large parcels, what would be the town's master plan in your mind for them? I mean, is there any kind of planning when these large parcels go out for sale?
In terms of
Well, in terms
asking
of
the
what
property
you-
owners what
yeah,
they're...
in terms of, if it's 107 acres, when you look at this one here, it's an acre, right? So if you're looking at 107 acres, it could be, you can have 100 and...
Well, not necessarily, because
Well, not
if some of it
necessarily.
has got wetland or steep slopes
Right.
or a variety of things, you don't normally get 100 homes on 100
Right,
acres.
but you do have some kind of vision as to what it should look like.
And that's the point of the zoning. So the zoning map has to be a consideration in terms of what's permitted in those areas. So there's a variety of things that the town engineer looks at and advises the planning board looks at, and they go through the process. And some of these things can take 10 years. It just depends on a project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Adrian? Is that my next? Yeah.
Sorry. I don't normally speak, very nervous, but.
Take your time.
I understand why the developer is very concerned about this March 31st deadline. But what I don't understand is why the town is interested in this March 31st deadline and why the town can't hold them off, making sure that all of these requirements have been met before they begin felling these trees. And as they've said, once they're down, and if they have to restore them, they are not going to be in the same condition as they were. So that was my biggest concern. My other, it's very minor, but I did watch the planning board meeting. And at the end, I heard, and I don't know everybody on the planning board, but I did hear one gentleman say, "So should I make a motion?" And somebody goes, "I guess you should." And then he goes, "Okay." But there was never, as you have a specific motion, and then there's a second, and then there's a vote. I never actually heard that at the planning board meeting when I was watching. Could I have missed it? Maybe. But I wanted to make a point that that was never specifically done. Thank you.
Greg, were you at that meeting?
There were so many meetings that...
Yeah, right, okay. But they normally take a vote?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, next, Dietrich?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dietrich Schmidt. I live on 1141 Beekman Road. I think it's a bad idea to authorize tree removal before a final approval is given. This wouldn't be the first time that that happens and that a large amount of trees have been destroyed and then the properties have never been developed. There's the property in Bishop Lane, there's also property on Greenhaven and Lime Ridge Road. Those have been sitting undeveloped for years, sometimes decades. So we're setting another precedent here for failing to protect our environment and having those bare properties there without any trees, without any development happen. And even having a restitution bond of $38,000 is not going to do anything. Once those trees are destroyed, they are destroyed, and even replanting is not nearly going to make up for the amount of damage that the removal of those trees will be doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Bill? And I'm just going to submit for the record, I had gotten 2 letters concerning this project, so we'll put that in for the minutes.
Bill Crane. In terms of Mrs. Wright's question, there's a comprehensive plan that is supposed to guide the planning board. The comprehensive, it's called the comprehensive plan, emphasizes the need to protect natural habitats. It does not emphasize the need to speed up real estate development. In this case, we're allowing the developer to cut down trees which are valuable and destroy animals' homes. When I think about this project, it comes to mind the animated movie and book Watership Down, where it begins with the rabbits in the ground, and it takes it from their point of view when the bulldozers come and destroy their homes. This is like what's going to happen now. The trees there are many mature trees here, as I would guess from the map, and it's going ahead of it's trying to beat the DEC deadline, which is to protect the endangered species. And it's not just not the Indiana bat, the other bat. It's right now, rabbits, foxes, squirrels, and other animals are giving birth. They're asking to come in right now and tear up these animals' homes. The eagles are laying on eggs right now. And this is just a small sample. A lot of animals right now in March, when they want to come in, are in jeopardy of losing their homes. You're also losing something very valuable, as people have said. The trees, people come here because they like the rural atmosphere. The comprehensive plan emphasizes the need to protect the rural nature of our town. Trees are a major part of that. Yet we see developments all over the place. Trees going down this development, that development, Baker Road, all kinds of places. It's a real problem. The trees are valuable. They prevent soil erosion. They give us oxygen. They store carbon. Old trees store a lot of carbon. The mature trees are very valuable for storing carbon. If we're concerned about global warming and we want to do our part to prevent it, the carbon being stored by mature trees, once you cut those trees, their carbon goes into the air. You're just contributing to global warming. I think we have to start defending our trees and realize what they're doing. With the carbon in the old trees, it goes down into the soil and enriches the soil. You can't, this replenishment is a joke. It's replenishing, you bring in a few 3.5-inch diameter trees to replace those that are 10 to 16 inches. These are big trees you're taking down. Once again, these are the homes. People say, oh, the animals can go to other homes. Would we stand for that? Tear up our homes and somebody said go to other homes? I would say in closing, I guess I'm using up about 3 minutes, postponing this project will give some animals and some trees a chance to help us and live. I know it's a foregone conclusion that it's just buying time for another generation of animals to live, but given what humans have done to this this planet's and ecosystems and environments, let's give them a little more time to live. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Okay, that was the end for that. Just a little bit of history that we've worked on in terms of preserving open space and trees and things like that. When I came on the town board, Cliff Schwark, who at that point was the CAC chair, had been working for a number of years on the timber law, and he came to me and asked how we could do, he really had spent a lot of time on it and wanted to fast track it, so to speak, because he was concerned about clear cutting, rightfully so, and things like that. So we moved that to the front burner, and I know Dan and Craig and the town board and Cliff worked diligently on getting the timber law passed in terms of preservation and open space, and not to allow the clear cutting of our forests. Recently in the fall, another project, Clifford really should be given a Medal of Honor for all he has done for this town. He worked, again, to preserve 505 acres of a forest and there were a number of people who owned it. A trust company came in, and it was a win-win. Clifford really spearheaded this. It was a win-win for everyone, the way it was designed, because the town did not lose the tax base. Yet this property, 505 acres, is now preserved for nature, for animals, and for our residents to enjoy that kind of open space. So you can see that this has been a priority of not just the town board and the town engineer, but our CAC and a number of people, and we've taken that into consideration for some of our decisions. There's another project in the town of Dover that Bill is aware of, and Pauling. And last year, or maybe it was even more than a year ago now, Bill, they clear-cut hundreds of acres up there off Gardner Hollow Road. And we have worked, at that time diligently. I had the state troopers come to weigh the logging trucks and attempt to, at the very least, keep them off the roads of Beekman for this clear-cutting operation. We also have looked into what we can do because that's a project that's going to move forward, that's going to create a tremendous amount of construction and going through the town. And, we're still addressing the issue of what we can do with that road, because unfortunately, Gardner Hollow Road is the most convenient way for them to go up there to do that. So we've really, have tried to struggle with that project that we have no control over in 2 other towns. We passed the solar law that we felt was really important, because all of these solar projects have sprouted up all over the place. And, the prime example is the one on 55 that the former town supervisor, Betsy Moss of Unionvale, put in there on 55. And I understand you don't want tiny trees. I mean, I think they were, the screening effect went in this big. Most of them have died since then. And it's a really unattractive look for all of us who want to maintain the rural aesthetic quality of life up here. So we really manage the solar law to make sure that in, areas like Route 55, these things were not going to pop up. Now, I know some have popped up on 216. The prison, New York State can put them up anywhere. We have no control over that, and they don't come to us. As a matter of fact, when it was first going up, it came to us as a surprise, because they never even gave us a heads up they were going to do that. So we have, over the years, all of our boards taken this type of stuff into consideration. We've also made an effort tonight. Now, the planning board has done all of this work, and multiple meetings, public hearings, and presentations. But I thought it was important, because I think most of the people who came tonight didn't see that. You're not getting in depth what they did over a period of time, but I'm hoping that something like this answered some questions to alert you to what they were doing, and a little bit of give and take on that. So I wanted to thank everybody for coming in for the discussion on it. And Dan, I appreciate you coming in. Thank you. Did you have anything else, sir? You guys good? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so now we'll go back into how we normally move along. I'm going to run through the agenda items.
Just make a motion to resume the rules.
Okay. To resume
the rules of procedure.
Okay. I make a motion to resume the normal rules of procedure.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, let's go through this.
I just want to interrupt for a second. He told me that the number that I had for the vote and a half was wrong. So I was wrong. He was right.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you for being right, Dan. Because I'm thinking 12 million, wow, that's unbelievable. Okay, resolution number 11, we're going to appoint, as I said, Clifford unfortunately has resigned after close to 30 years of diligent work as the chair of our CAC, and we will have Suzette Lopine as a temporary chair. And then resolution number 12 is our December of 2024 budget adjustments in order to get the books closed for the year. Resolution number 13 is the budget adjustments for January of 2025. Resolution number 14 are our senior bus trips and events. Number 15 is the entertainment for our egg hunt that will be held April 5th. On number 17, the town board is going to an appointment for Zareen Khan as a part-time court for the a part-time justice clerk. Then resolution number 18 is the bond that we've just spoken at length about. Resolution number 19 is accepting the bids for highway materials. Resolution number 20 is accepting the bid for paving Layden Place blacktop. Resolution number 21 is creating a capital project fund for FEMA repairs. We've gotten FEMA money for 2 roads that had some damage during a storm, Gardner Hollow Road embankment and Stowe Drive culverts. And number 22 is inland waterway designation, Fishkill Creek. We had done it last year at the request. This is an item that now will go up to Albany. They will be looking at it up there to pass a law, but we needed to do it in the year that they were going to vote on it. So we did it last year. It didn't come up for a vote, so this is really a repeat of what we did last year. Resolution number 23 is to use the town repair reserve fund for repairs of the garage overhead doors and a vehicle fuel tracking system. That we will be having the public hearing on before the money can be spent from the reserve fund, so that'll be March 25th at 6:05. Resolution 24 is the payment of claims. Now we will have the rest of, let's see. The rest of the people who signed up on the agenda items are for something that's not on the agenda. I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'm going to move you to the public comment period at the end of the meeting, and I'll call your names at that point, but this time period was just for agenda items. Okay. And let's see. Okay, so would you like to start?
Sure. Okay, whereas the town board will make appointments to the various boards, and whereas with the resignation of Clifford Schwark as chairman of the Conservation Advisory Council, a vacancy now exists. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Beekman Town Board does hereby make the following appointments. Suzette Lopine as temporary chair of the CAC with a term to expire December 31st, 2025. Be it further resolved that all appointments are conditioned upon completion and submission of the disclosure of interest statement pursuant to Chapter 19-9 of the Town Code, and be it further resolved that all appointees shall file their oath of office with the town clerk of the town of Beekman prior to serving their term.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Badalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limek?
Aye.
Councilwoman Warman?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passed.
Okay, whereas the Town of Beekman Accounting Office recommends certain budget revisions based on department requests and/or accounting office review and analysis of expenditures or revenues, now therefore be it resolved that the following itemized revisions are approved by the Town of Beekman Town Board for 2024, identified as budget revision number 2024-12 as follows.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Badalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limek?
Aye.
Councilwoman Warman? Aye. Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passed.
Whereas the Town of Beekman Accounting Office recommends certain budget revisions based on department requests and/or the accounting office reviews and analysis of expenditures or revenues, now therefore be it resolved that the following itemized revisions are approved by the Town of Beekman Town Board for 2025, identified as budget revision number 2025-01 as follows.
I will second that.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Badalini?
Aye.
Councilman Lemach?
Aye.
Councilwoman Warman?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passed.
Whereas the 2025 budget includes funding for cost of a variety of bus trips/events for senior citizens programs, and whereas deposits are required for tours, shows, and meals to guarantee the reservations, which deposits are reimbursed to the town through ticket sales. Now therefore be it resolved that the payment for the charter bus for the following trips and/or entertainment is hereby authorized. June 26th will be Queens of the Country at Hunterton Hills Playhouse. July 2nd is the Full Monty at Forestburg Playhouse. August 13th is My Mother's Italian, My Father's Jewish, and I'm in Therapy. Casino lunch show and $25 slot play. September 18th is a Hudson River Cruise sightseeing cruise and lunch at the Old Savannah House. October 5th is Maganini Winery, a six-course lunch with wine tasting. And November 13th is Moments to Remember at the Brownstone.
I'll second that.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Badalini?
Aye.
Councilman Lemach?
Aye.
Councilwoman Warman?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passed.
Whereas the 2025 egg hunt has been scheduled for April 5th, 2025, and whereas the funds have been included in the 2025 annual budget to provide entertainment during said event. And whereas the amount approved by Resolution 211-2516 needs to be amended to reflect the quote received. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Just for Fun for 2 games and 1 Eli the Elephant delivery setup and damage waiver fee for an amount not to exceed $715, and we're 2x2 Animal Haven Inc. for an amount not to exceed $500.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Badalini?
Aye.
Councilman Lemach?
Aye.
Councilwoman Warman?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passed.
Whereas the second town board meeting in the month of February was rescheduled to Tuesday, March 4th, 2025, now therefore be it resolved that the town board meeting scheduled for Tuesday, March 11th, 2025 will be canceled, and the second town board meeting in the month of March will be held on Tuesday, March 25th, 2025 at 6 p.m. 4 Main Street, Poquay, New York.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Badalini?
Aye.
Councilman Lemach?
Aye.
Councilwoman Warman?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passed.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Beekman does hereby acknowledge the appointment of Zareen Khan as the part-time clerk for the Justice Department, which is hourly salary as found in the current CSEA contract.
I'll second that.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Badalini?
Aye.
Councilman Lemach?
Aye.
Councilwoman Warman?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passed.
Whereas on February 20th, 2025, the Planning Board of the Town of Beekman agreed to allow the applicant to fell trees associated with the approved preliminary subdivision layout for the Savannah Estates subdivision. And whereas the applicant submitted a performance bond estimate for which the town engineer reviewed and approved, recommended the posting of a performance bond in the amount of $38,907.38 for the full performance of the developer's obligations pursuant to the proposed tree felling. And whereas in accordance with Chapter 75-4A3, the applicant is required to pay the amount of $38,907.38 for inspection of tree felling work and site restoration in the subdivision, which fee is to be paid with the deposit of the performance bond. And whereas the town board is desirous of accepting the recommendations of the town engineer, the town planning board, and the town CAC, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Beekman hereby approves and accepts the recommendations of the town engineer, the town planning board, and the town CAC with respect to the Savannah Estates subdivision tree felling and restoration approval, that the developer only remove the trees necessary to complete construction, and hereby sets the required performance bond in the amount of $38,907.38.
And be it further resolved that prior to any tree clearing work as detailed in the planning board approval, a performance bond shall be deposited with the town clerk in the amount of $38,907.38 in form and substance as acceptable to the town attorney. And be it further resolved that prior to any tree clearing work as detailed by the planning board approval, a performance bond agreement shall be executed by the applicant in form and acceptable to town attorney and filed with the town clerk. And be it further resolved that prior to any tree clearing work as detailed in the planning board approval, an inspection fee in the amount of $2,500 shall be paid to the comptroller of the town of Beekman.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? So we had the presentation, and the other item that I wanted to add was we had received an email from the CIC today that they had had some conversation about this at their meeting on Monday night, and asked us to take some things into consideration in order to reflect the concerns that they had considered, and we did take some of their concerns, their suggestion into account when the resolution was written. So, did anybody want to add anything? Craig, did anything? Okay. Roll call vote.
Councilman Badalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limak?
Aye.
Councilman Norman?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passed.
Okay, whereas by Resolution 11325-1, at the January 13, 2025 special town board meeting, the town board authorized the Highway Department to seek bids for highway materials for the year 2025. And whereas authorization was given for the town clerk to advertise for the bids for the year 2025, and whereas said bids were received, opened, and read publicly on February 11, 2025 at 10 a.m. and have been reviewed by the highway superintendent and the town clerk. Now therefore be it resolved that the bids for highway materials for 2025 are hereby awarded as recommended in highlighted form by the highway superintendent as attached herewith.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Badalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limak?
Aye.
Councilwoman Norman?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passed.
Whereas the town clerk was authorized to publish and post a notice to bidders for goods and services related to the 2025 concrete asphalt laid in place for the town of Beekman, and whereas said two were received, open, and read publicly on February 11, 2025 at 10 a.m. in the office of the town clerk, 4 Main Street, Poquay, New York, 12570. Now therefore be it resolved that the bid for the annual asphalt laid in place be and is hereby awarded as set forth in the highlighted format in Schedule A annexed hereto and made a part hereof. And be it further resolved that the town clerk be and is hereby authorized to forward a copy of this resolution to Kecht Construction Company and Clove Excavators.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Oh, I'm sorry,
No,
roll
you
call
said it,
vote.
she did.
Oh, I didn't even...
I did.
She said
Yeah,
roll
I
call
knew
vote.
I did.
Councilman Badalini?
Wait a
Aye.
second.
Councilwoman Norman?
Aye.
Councilman Limak? I'm sorry, she got me all confused. And
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passed.
Whereas the town of Beekman incurred severe storm damage in July 2023 to 2 locations in the town, and whereas the town received 75% in FEMA funds totaling $206,909 in 2024 to make the locations permanent repairs, accounted for as follows. Gardner Hollow Road embankment, the total amount of $181,840.69, which we received $159,110.61, leaving a balance of $22,730.08. Stowe Drive culverts, the total amount is $54,624.75. We received $47,796.65, with a balance of $6,828.10. The town management cost, the total amount is $12,258.98. The balance is $12,258.98. That's giving a total amount of $248,724.42. We received $206,907.26, and the balance on that is $41,817.16. Whereas the town is preparing plans to make the necessary detailed repairs, and whereas additional monies will be needed for engineering and general expenses, now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Beekman Town Board approves the creation of a capital project fund for $260,000 with $248,725 in total FEMA funds and balance of $11,275 transfer from the highway fund.
I'll second that.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Badalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limek?
Aye.
Councilwoman Warman?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passed.
Whereas Dutchess County municipalities are working together to protect water resources, and whereas communities in the Fishkill Creek watershed have demonstrated strong interest in comprehensive watershed management, and whereas the federal government through the Environmental Protection Funds and the New York State Division of Coastal Resources has funding to assist communities in protecting the designated water body and revitalizing the community, and whereas New York State Assemblyman Jonathan Jacobson and Senator Pete Harcum have agreed to sponsor an amendment to the Designated Inland Waterways Act to include Fishkill Creek in the list of designated waterways, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Beekman supports said amendment to the Designated Inland Waterways Act and is hopeful for its passage in the New York State Legislature.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Badalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limek?
Aye.
Councilwoman Warman?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passed.
Okay. Resolution to approve use of town repair reserve fund. Whereas the town of Beekman created a repair reserve fund in July 2020 pursuant to Section 6D of the General Municipal Law, and whereas the town is preparing plans to repair the highway garage overhead doors and the town motor vehicle fuel tracking system, and whereas the town deems it beneficial to use reserve repair funds to cover the cost of these expenses, which are not a type reoccurring annually or at shorter intervals, and whereas a resolution appropriating monies from a repair fund is subject to a public hearing which must be at least 5 days between the publication of the notice of hearing and the date and location specified for that hearing. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Beekman Town Board hereby approves the setting of the public hearing to be March 25th, 2025 at 6:05 p.m. and hereby plans to appropriate monies not to exceed $100,000 for the expenses related to the particular purpose stated above.
Second.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Badalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limek?
Aye.
Councilwoman Warman?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passed.
Whereas the bookkeeper has audited and approved claims pursuant to Section 119 of Town Law as set forth in the attached abstracts, be it resolved that the payment therefore is hereby authorized as follows. Claims to be paid from the A General Fund, $537,616.18. Claims to be paid from the DA Highway Fund, $34,618.61. Claims to be paid from the SS Dover Ridge Sewer, $2,036.49. Claims to be paid from the SW Dover Ridge Water, $1,979.50. Claims to be paid from the T-Trust and Agency Fund, $214,788.25. Claims to be paid from the H Capital Fund, $23,792, for a total of $814,831.03. 2/13/2025 payroll for General Fund, $36,548.66. Highway Fund, $34,307.08, for a total of $70,855.74. 2/27/2025 payroll number 5, General Fund, $37,768.93. Highway Fund, $43,236.74, for a total of $81,005.67.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Badalini?
Aye.
Councilman Limek?
Aye.
Councilwoman Warman?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passed.
Okay, let's see. Okay, we have some other town board business prior to this meeting. With our attorney Craig Wallace, we had an attorney-client meeting with the town board, and we are going to take action on some of both of these items. The first one is resolution number 342525, grant FOIL appeal number 2024-1. Be it resolved that the town board and the town of Beekman hereby grants the FOIL appeal number 2024-1 and authorizes the supervisor of the town of Beekman to inform the appellant and the town clerk of the town board decision.
I'll second that.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilman Mormon?
Yes, aye, sorry.
Councilman Limek?
Aye.
Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passed. Do you have a copy of that
Yeah,
for me
we
or
do.
something?
We'll get it for you at the end of the meeting.
Resolution number 26. Resolution giving town clerk deadlines to provide account reconciliations to financial department. Whereas the town clerk has the statutory duty to collect and receive all state, county, and town taxes and assessments, local property taxes, and school taxes for the town of Beekman, and whereas the town clerk has all the power and is subject to all the duties of a collector with respect to the collection of such taxes and the deposit of receipts pursuant to the town section law 36, and whereas section 35-1 of the town law requires the town clerk as tax collector to deposit and pay to the supervisor in full at least once per week, and whereas the town clerk has failed to provide accurate bank reconciliations report for the town clerk accounts, property tax, school tax, and credit card accounts since September of 2024 to present as set forth in Schedule A, be it resolved that the town clerk is ordered to complete all outstanding bank reconciliations and corrections to the financial department by March 13th, 2025 at 3 p.m.
I'll second.
I'd like to
Town board
say something.
discussion.
Craig?
Excuse me, we're in the middle of a vote. Town
I
board
appreciate
discussion.
that.
Roll call vote, please.
I'd like to say something first.
First, excuse me, we're having a roll call vote, and then you can speak, but we're having a roll call vote.
Okay, so Councilman Benalini?
Aye.
Councilwoman Mormon?
Aye.
Councilman Limek?
Aye.
And Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Perfect. So I would just like to say a couple of things. I'm not sure where they're really getting that all from. I am behind on one of my collections for the school taxes, and I will tell you exactly the reason why. It was an error on one payment where a gentleman came in, he bounced a check, he brought in another check to me. I didn't realize it, and that I take full credit for that. It was an error. The money's there. What happened is I had to go to the county to get a correction, a bill correction, and if anybody knows how that works, it doesn't take just 2 days to get that. You have to go through the collection process, you have to go to the Dutchess County legislator. So therefore, no, I have not handed in my collection for the school tax credit card because I am waiting for the county. My books are fine. I have no issue with my books. As a matter of fact, I just handed in all of my stuff today, so she has that. I don't know, what the point of all of this is to just try to make me look bad, but I have no problem telling you exactly what it is. Right now, for the tax receiver, I have collected 83% of the taxes since January. I'm here mostly by myself. I do 2 full-time jobs, as she's already known. And I think 83% is pretty good, considering the fact that I only have a 17.5-hour deputy. And yes, they did get me help where someone can come in for 100 hours, which is basically the equivalent of 2 weeks. I have a collection that starts January and ends at the end of May for property. And then the school tax starts in the beginning of September and ends in November. So I am here by myself. Am I perfect? I'm not perfect, and neither are any of them, although they seem to think they are perfect. I am telling you exactly what happened. The money is there. Anybody can come and check the account.
Nobody's
So,
accusing the money
the-
isn't
and that's
there.
the reason
That's
why
not what
it's
was
not
said.
there. So their little games that they're playing here at the meeting, if you guys have any questions, you know I'm always open and honest. Come see me. They have my reports. Everything is there, and I will show you everything if you want to come to my office at any point.
Thank you. The bank reconciliations that need to be adjusted
Okay.
with errors are from the
There
old
are no
account
errors,
tab-
Mary.
Excuse me.
There are no
Excuse-
errors.
All right, I'm just going to hand you that, and you can discuss it with finance
I don't need to
tomorrow.
discuss it with finance.
Well, you'll have to, because they
The
have to
second
be
thing-
corrected.
okay.
Excuse me, and I'm going to
Okay.
say something. This has been constantly repeated.
Right.
So I think transparency through
Right.
truth is important.
Well, I just
okay?
gave you the truth.
Excuse me, but that's your truth.
And that's my
In
truth, because you
January-
don't tell the
excuse
truth.
me,
I just
ex-
told you
you're
what
right.
happened.
Excuse me, in the,
Okay.
the property tax collection of 2022, the third clerk was never called in, the additional clerk during that tax
She
time.
was not
Excuse me,
feeling well.
Not in 2022.
Mary,
Excuse
don't
me, I'm
even
gonna
go there. I
remind
am
you.
not.
Oh, I am
okay,
going to go there
I'm going
because I have the
I'm
facts.
going to dismiss myself from this
Okay,
circus of
that's fine.
clowns.
Okay.
May I make a motion from the floor?
No, you may not.
Yeah.
No, you may not.
Because she's
Okay?
just trying to do what she's doing,
No,
and
you
it's
may
not
not.
going to work. And I'm not going to submit
Okay.
myself to more aggravation than I've already deal with her on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you,
So,
Lorraine, for
have
your
a great day.
professional attitude.
I have a very
Let's move
professional.
on
You just don't like the
to
truth.
public comment. No, we'll have a full discussion on this, but let's move on
I
to...
welcome your full
excuse me.
discussion, Mary.
The agenda, Bill Crane, you want to, I mean, not the agenda, public comment? Okay. Lori Stento?
Sorry, guys. I'm not going to be subject
No apologies
to any more
necessary.
abuse than I already am.
Hello, my name is Lori Sento. I live at 52 Vandenberg Road. I'm here this evening requesting the town supervisor, Mary Cabucci, remove John Frustaci as chairman of our planning board. John Frustaci assaulted my 67-year-old husband, Vincent Sento, 2 times, not one. The first assault took place at a town board meeting, September 24th, 2024, in front of numerous residents. This latest physical assault was on February 22nd, 2025, resulting in the need for oral surgery and removal of teeth that were broken by John Frustaci. We live in the same development as John Frustaci, and we shouldn't fear another assault. The town of Beekman has always been a safe place to live, and this violent behavior can't be tolerated. If the board chooses to ignore the situation, it's our opinion that you condone this type of behavior from a representative of our town. This was an unprovoked assault for no reason other than he waited for opportunity since September and attacked my husband and then came at me. I think that this needs attention. I think it's up to the board to do something about it, and we need a safe town back. Thank you.
Doug?
Doug DeMasi, Beekman Road. Larry, common sense for the town of Beekman, Proposition 3. You had down here, transparency and accountability should be present at all departments of all areas of organizations. These principles are important for promoting trust, ethical behavior, and efficiency. 1, I want to know how many town clerks in the Dutchess County do all the taxes? I don't know. I couldn't find any. I could be wrong. Only Lauren that I know of that does 3 jobs for 1 pay. Now, Mary, I've asked you a number of times, please, to put back all the town board meetings from the beginning, and you still haven't. Are you going to do this? Great.
That's a no.
Great. Is it safe to say that you're a seasoned attorney, well-respected in Dutchess County?
You call me Ray?
Craig. is it pretty much?
This isn't a question and answer
Well,
session.
well, I'm asking, I asked you,
I respond to the board, sorry.
I asked you at the last board meeting that you said Greg Brown worked 4 hours a day per week for 50 weeks, 200 hours. So if Greg Brown received $40 an hour at that, that'd be $60 an hour for overtime, so he'd be getting $12,000. So where's the other $60,000? Because Greg Brown was paid almost $60-some thousand extra for 2017. Let me refresh in some of the minds here. The resolution number on September 6, 2017, the town board had a resolution read by Enzio where he said that consultation line, they're going to take $40,000 and give it to the recreation department. That never happened. That $40,000 went to Greg Brown. Why did the $40,000 go to Greg Brown? Why did Greg Brown receive an extra 3 paychecks for the year of 2017, totaling over $60,000, almost double his pay? I've foiled for this. I've went to the troopers, the sheriffs, everybody. Nobody wants to get involved. So I want to know why Enzio and the entire board knew it. Because back then, Paul Ackerman said that money was for Greg Brown because he didn't take overtime and he got vacation time. Now, Mr. Wallace here said, no, it's just for the straight time, but for only 4 hours a day overtime. And I've asked for proof. You show me proof where Greg Brown worked any overtime. I've been self-employed most of my life. I've had people, and I show the records because I gotta show them. So I wanna know why the resolution on September 6, 2017 clearly said, and read by Enzio, who was in the fire department, clearly said that the money's coming from the consultation line to the playgrounds. And it didn't. It went to Greg Brown.
Okay, thank you, Doug.
And I have
You've gone over
copies
your
of
3
the
minutes.
checks that was cashed. He received 4 extra checks for 2017. Why did he get over $60,000 extra?
Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome.
Jennifer?
And still, no answer.
Stone Ridge?
Where's the money? And the last question is, who else received it? Because it's a perfect scam. They would use a resolution.
Doug, I've told you to go to the DA, to go to the Attorney General, to go to the sheriff.
I've been going to a lot of them.
I know, and you have had no success. As a matter of fact, your most recent court case was tossed from the city of Poughkeepsie.
You better look again, Mary.
I got the paperwork.
Well, you better be.
Okay.
All right. So anyway.
Jennifer?
I have, and apparently the puppet masters are telling the puppets not to do anything. And if you look at all the resolutions.
Jennifer, can you please come up? Doug, you're done. Doug, thank you.
You're welcome, Mary. I'll give you 2 thumbs up.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Capillari. I live at 26 Biltmore Drive. Good evening, Supervisor Cavucci and members of the town board. I'm here as a resident of Stone Ridge Estates and have lived here since 2018. Our development has been anxiously awaiting the promise of road dedication, which would ensure our roads are plowed in the winter, our mail is delivered directly to our homes, and our children are picked up by the school buses like any other taxpayers in Beekman. When our final home in our development was built in 2022, we thought we would see that dedication happen shortly after, but it did not. With every advancement that seemingly gets us closer to completion, the goalpost is moved. I understand the issues and challenges surrounding this project have probably originated long before many of our current board members even took office. However we arrived here, I have no intent to analyze or argue past decisions, but to ask the town's commitment to help correct the course and move us forward. It seems that the remaining obstacle is the completion of a walking and hiking trail. The trail does little to serve the community's needs as it closely borders private properties and connects to nothing. It seems that neither the residents nor the town actually want this. Every improvement made is deemed insufficient and the months continue with no progress. If this trail is the problem, there must be a way to move past it. Let's find an alternative and adjust the scope. Project scope revisions due to site conditions are a common occurrence and should be considered in this case. Again, I ask you, our board, for your assistance in finally reaching a resolution. We're 18 homes and 18 families. For me, it's 7 years of paying taxes without any benefit, and I think you can agree that it's too long. Thank you for your time and commitment to our community, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.
If I may, I'd like to hand this over to our town clerk for
Dan,
record.
could you come up and discuss, I'm putting you on the spot because I know you don't have anything with you, but if you could do it off the top of your head, I'd appreciate what's left and what the current conversation is, and maybe Greg, you could pop in on it.
Sure. I met with the engineer, I'd say about a month and a half ago or so, and they had done some of the improvements that we had asked for. And so now he has to memorialize it on the map and give us new descriptions for the trail easement, as it did not stay within the original easement. So there has to be some corrections to that legal document there as well.
And what's the purpose of that, so that down the road?
It's protections, it's protections for the residents, protections for the owners of the open space, which is going to be the homeowners association, protections for the town, so.
And where does that go to? Who handles those easements?
It's up to the developer to take care of that, and then they give it to us for review.
Okay, and
So-
did the developer's engineer say that they were working on that, or?
Yes,
moving on
yeah, I gave them a
Any
review a
time?
little over a month ago, I would say, so they're working on it.
Have you heard from them?
No, but I know that there's a process of putting together the easement descriptions and things like that, so he has to work with the surveyor, who's not in his company, so it's two separate consultants there.
Okay.
So we're
What
just-
happens
we're
if the
waiting.
easements are not done properly?
Well, the improvements need to be within the easements. That was the biggest point of us continuously asking for an as-built survey of what was there. And it was not given to us for a very long time.
How long would you
despite
say?
Years.
Right.
Several years.
But what's the impact on the HOA as well as the town of easements are not put in place correctly originally?
If I don't know, I can give a scenario of if somebody maybe got hurt on the trail and the trail was not within the easement, then the HOA may be responsible for that as it's on their property. So
Okay.
it's just a way of trying to get everything as tight as we can before the HOA takes that over.
Okay, I'm sorry, you could continue.
Yeah.
I interrupted you with the easements.
No, that's generally it. I mean,
It's
so
the
we're-
easements we're waiting for them to, there's
Yeah.
nothing
We're-
else,
So
just the,
it's the meets and bounds that go along with the easements there. And then there's going to be a filed map that has to be refiled. It's going to extinguish driveways. It was designed to.
because there were some issues with the driveways, no?
There was supposed to be shared driveways on
Right.
a couple of lots,
Mhm.
and they decided to build them differently. So they.
And why do we need to do that for the long haul?
It's just.
Again.
Again, legally getting it off so that there's no longer an easement now going through somebody's property, and then the neighbor has a right to put a driveway through that regardless. So now that they were built individually, let's clean it up and get it done right.
Okay.
So a lot of this is on the developer.
Yeah, I would like to add, Dan and I met with the developer in September of last year. We walked the property. After doing so, we modified, Dan actually recommended to the planning board to modify the wood chips requirement, which would have been an added cost to the developer. He was upset about that, and we were able to get, the planning board did modify those conditions. So if anything, the goalposts are actually being, going in the opposite direction to help him get over the hump.
You have anything to add to the importance of getting those easements right? In your experience, what happens when, because you're the attorney?
If the easements are not identified on the filed map, then there is no easement. And it could, for all we know, it could be going through a property owner's backyard. And if somebody got hurt, liability, that property owner could be liable. So it's for their protection, it's for the town's protection, it's for the developer's protection, and the HOA's protection.
Did you have anything else, John?
That's it for me.
Susan?
I have a question. Real quick, so the two resolutions that Mary read, how come they weren't posted before the meeting and waited until after the meeting to be posted on that?
I'm not going to answer that right now, so.
Susan? Could you, go ahead.
Hi, good evening. My name is Suzanne O'Leary. I live on 41 Biltmore Drive. As a resident of Stone Ridge Estates, I would like to bring attention to long overdue and unresolved issues that we've been dealing with for years. I myself, for the past 4 years, and for the majority of my neighbors, even longer than that, the issues that we're facing are that we have not received common town services and benefits that every other taxpayer receives. We've all been paying our taxes for years without receiving services such as mail delivery to our individual homes, school bus transportation coming up into our development for pickup and drop-off, and snow removal of our roads, Biltmore Drive and Antler Court. Each homeowner in our 18-home development on average pays around $15,000 a year in taxes between school, county, and town, and we're not receiving any benefits from any of them. We constantly pick up our packages from the post office, we continue to walk our children outside of our development to a bus stop, and we continue to rely on our builder to plow our roads on his time and schedule. These services and benefits are being withheld because our roads have not been dedicated, and it seems the holdup of our road dedication is due to the town's requirements of the completion of this said walking trail in our development. We're all concerned with the issue of this walking trail. The original intent of the trail was to join our development with another development close by that was never developed. It's been the cause of considerable controversy. It's extremely concerning that the town has allocated this much time, energy, and taxpayer money on this walking trail that, quite frankly, should absolutely be extinguished. This issue raises the question of how much money has been spent on town attorneys and town engineers through the years, and how much money we've been paying in taxes without receiving any common town services and benefits. Maybe a tax refund is in order after all this time. It is absolutely unacceptable that we've been paying taxes for services we have never received from the town. We're extremely frustrated at this point with the lack of progress on this issue and the lack of urgency to resolve it. Unfortunately, we all share the feeling that our town has let us down instead of acting in our best interest. We all share the opinion that maybe a change is in order as well this election year. Hopefully, we can all look forward to a win. Thank you for your time and the opportunity to address my concerns.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you.
30 Biltmore? 30 Biltmore? I'm sorry, I can't read the name. Sorry.
Good evening. My name is Vinny Sagi, and I'm just a recent resident in 30 Biltmore Drive. And as you heard from other people from our neighborhood, our concerns are the same. My only concern, I don't know much about this, but I think the Sean O'Donnell, who is the developer of the estate, is dragging his feet. And I'm curious, why did he get a CEO to sell the lots without fulfilling all his obligations? It seemed like he was given on a fast track, the CEO, so he could sell the units, and now he's dragging his feet and doing all the things which the town wants him to do. And we are in the middle of all of this. And as Suzanne has mentioned, we are paying taxes, but we're not getting any benefits. I want to know what the town can do for us in resolving this issue. And, there should be, he must have put a performance bond or something with the town. If he's not performing, then we should cash in the bond and give it to the residents, do the work. If he's not willing to do it, cash on the bond and let's have somebody else to finish the work. You know, why drag him on, and in the meanwhile, we get no services. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Good, John, 42 Gilmore, John?
Good evening, everyone. I'm John Sacalario, 42 Biltmore. I moved up here with my wife and my 2 daughters a couple years ago. It was one of the last lots on Biltmore Drive in Stone Ridge Estates to be developed. And as I was getting the house built and all this political drama was unfolding to my ears and learning about it, it's kind of like, hey, what did I get myself into? So I feel like, naively not knowing what's going on with the boards and policy things that are going on with Sean O'Donnell, and I'm freestyling here, it's just very unsettling and very, concerning that it's just, we're being held hostage as taxpayers for whatever the hell's going on with Sean O'Donnell and you guys and the town, and it's just like a mess. And we just want to live our life, right? 2 daughters. I want the bus to come outside my house. I want to get my mail from my top of my driveway. I want the snow plowed when I'm trying to drive to work at 5:45 in the morning. Like, it's too complicated, and I'm new to this, and this is my first appearance here, and I will come more prepared. But until we're heard and something is done, we will continue to come here month by month to address this, because it's very unfair that we have to deal with whatever political rift is going on with Sean O'Donnell. I honestly don't care. It's horrible, and we're in the middle of it, and we're paying a ton of money. Like, I moved up here to pay, I pay a lot of taxes. I'm up like to $24,000. My wife's back there. Like, why? Again, I'll keep it short, but until we get a resolution, see you next time.
Thank you. At this time, I make a motion to close the town board meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll take it for next one.